Hello, everybody, and I am so grateful that all of you are here. As everybody knows, the mission of HERStrength is to build a resilient lifestyle. And we are working on that by detoxifying our lives. We are starting with the home, the food we eat. Detoxification comes across a spectrum of elements that we need, even from the brain, the way we think, our relationships, the food we put in our body. And that is why I am thrilled to introduce you to Jennifer Franklin today. Jennifer is the author and co-creator of Eureka 30, which is a brain-based program that helps you rewire your brain to make good habits easier. Jennifer's using evidence-based strategies to turn knowledge into action. Her program is built around 5 pillars. There's Neuro Chill, Neuro Energize, Neuro Connect, Neuro Sleep, and Neuro Nourish. A lot in alignment with what we're talking about, from what you're feeding your body, what you're thinking, how you're moving. So, Jen, many of our clients are breast cancer survivors, also breast cancer supporters, caregivers who want to live healthier, calmer, more energized life. Your program, Eureka 30, starts with the brain. Why is it so important to begin with mindset and habit formation before tackling nutrition or exercise or any of those other things?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for having me on your
Of
show,
course.
Kate. I really appreciate it. And this is a field and topic that is close to my heart. So, as far as mindset, in the context of Eureka 30, we speak about readiness to change. So, that's part of your mindset. If you're not ready, if you're not doing it for yourself, if it's pressure from family, friends, you should do it. Well, your success rate is going to be going to not be as great as if you have a strong why. Why
I
do I
like
want to do this? Who do I want to become? Imagine the person that you want to become. Not so much, oh, I just want to lose 10 pounds. Rather, I'm a person that makes healthy life choices, that makes healthy food choices, that nourishes my body. So that's part of the mindset in relation to Eureka 30. And then as far as habits, that is the how part of it. So now you know what you want, who you want to be, and we provide the evidence-based science on how to do it.
Amazing. Most of us are here because we do not want to get cancer again. We want to do everything we can to take control of our lives and to make sure that we never face recurrence again. So that's what inspired me to start this platform. What inspired you to start Eureka 30? What was your why?
Well, I've worked with hundreds of people over the 30 plus years. I've been in the space of health, fitness, and coaching. And I've seen people, very few, just get a plan, a diet, an exercise plan, and just run with it and succeed. Most people failed at some point, and then they feel bad. They want to try again, but they're carrying the past scars of failure. So I just thought there has to be a better way to increase the likelihood of success. And so through learning about neuroscience, working with the neuroscientists, doctors, and experts in this program, we added the known ways that people can successfully generate sustainable habits. And that is what's been embedded into Eureka 30. So for
That's
me, it was just I want to see people win. You know, it's hard when you fail at it and then you go back and it's like, oh, I've tried so many times, so many diets. And so I just wanted to add that edge of success.
Yeah, we're grateful for that because the one thing we don't want any of us to deal with anymore, getting cancer can be so overwhelming and you
Yeah.
feel so helpless. We at HERStrength want to create a world where here's the path. And you often say, Jennifer, knowing is different than doing. And I want to pull on that thread a little bit because I can tell my viewers all the right foods to eat. They know because I give them a shopping list. But how can we make doing that easier, more fun, even? That would be
Yes.
the best. So, what is the difference that you would like to talk about in terms of knowing versus doing?
Okay. So, great question.
Hmm.
We got to go from knowing to doing. So I
Yeah.
think everybody pretty much knows what they should be doing. And you get the should list. You should do this and should do this and should do this and should do this.
Hmm.
And it's overwhelming to your brain. Your brain likes stability. Your brain likes to know what's going to happen next. And
Hmm.
whenever you bring anything new into the mix, even if it's for good reasons, your brain is going to see that as a threat to its safety. So we have to work with our brains and how to create safe and winning habits in small steps that are not threatening to the brain. So you may get a big list, they may be great foods, but you're used to eating a certain way. And now to change all that, and then to have, your family or whoever you live with go in there, they're also going to have their brains saying, "Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to make those changes." So there's strategies into winning with this process. And that's
Yeah. Well, that leads me to my next question. And I don't know if it's anything you would reveal, but what neuroscience protocol are you using in Eureka 30? How are you going to help us to get these habits, these good habits going?
okay. Well, as I mentioned, change is a threat. So we have to kind of trick ourselves into being successful this way. So we use a system we call PARS, stands for prompts, actions, rewards. And it's basically the science of the habit formation loop. And a prompt is something that is an already established habit in your life. For example, just think of all the things you do all day that are just automatic. You don't have to think about it. You drive a car, you get up, you wash your hair, you brush your teeth, you drink your coffee. All of these are habits that you don't think about anymore. Oh God, I've got to make coffee. No, you're going to do that. So you take a well-established habit and you
Hmm.
tag a small action for your new habit onto that established habit. So the example I like to give is um, coffee in the morning. So you're going to,
Hmm.
or tea or whatever you do in the morning. Right after, do your resonant breathing, stress exercise, stress training, or tag another like 10 squats. It depends on what works for you and what kind of person you are, as to what you would do in the morning. And then you make it small,
Hmm.
totally so small that there's no way you're going to say, I just don't have time for it this morning. I just
Right.
can't do that. So
Right.
you want to incorporate small steps, and then the most important part of this, and this is the part that my people struggle with, because it seems so simple, is the reward. So that's the prompt action. R is for reward, and that all
Okay.
that is a personal reward. You're not going to go buy a donut, not like a new handbag. It is about
Mhm.
a small little saying, a little fist bump. I like to say, I'm winning. Because whenever I say I'm winning, I kind of smile. And then also, it creates that dopamine hit in your brain, which your brain loves. So that's the
Nice.
winning part, and it closes the loop, and you need to do it every time. So that's how we
So we need
take
like a good, like, I immediately am thinking, good job, girl. Like I tell myself,
exactly.
a good
You
job,
got it.
girl.
That's
Yeah.
right. So many times we say negative things about ourselves,
Yeah.
and this is a way to counteract that also while building new habits.
Okay. All right. So everybody remember that. We need one affirmative reward phrase for
Yes.
ourselves. So tell me why, in terms of brain capacity, is it better to be doing a small 3 minute versus like I'm going to work out every day for the next week.
Been
I'm
there,
gonna,
done
yeah,
that, and failed at it many times. Okay,
right.
there are a small percentage of people that just say, I'm going to change my life overnight, and they do it. And then
Yeah.
we look at them as heroes because we think, oh, I wish
I
I
can't.
could do that. I can do that. Well, no, most people can't do that. And that person, we don't know where their readiness to change a mindset was going into it. Also, fear is a huge motivator. So when you get sick and you have a diagnosis that's scary, most people are more likely to take on the new habits and be able to do bigger steps than you would if you're just going, I just want to lose a few pounds. However, um, taking on too much at once back to your brain is a threat. It's just too many things happening at once. So you're most likely going to fail if you take too big of steps and try to do everything at once. It seems slow, and I know a lot of people are impatient and they want to get results quickly. But if you just do this one time properly and you
Hmm.
get that in your head, this is the habit formation loop. The next time you go, you can try more habits, grander habits, but this is
Hmm.
the step that gets you there. It's small steps,
Small step.
non-threatening steps, not overwhelming that there's just no way when life throws me a curveball that, I just can't eat that Mediterranean meal that I promised I was going to have every single day because I now am going to eat a Mediterranean diet. So,
Yeah. So, how can the habit-based science, habit building science help with overwhelm? Because that's the last thing we want is to overwhelm. We already have been overwhelmed. We've gone through
yes.
chemo or radiation, multiple surgeries, done. But, now most of us here watching this are on the other side where we don't want overwhelm. So,
Yeah.
is there anything scientifically that we can see triggers or alerts, or how do we combat overwhelm?
Well, okay, there's obviously your personal feeling. I'm
Excuse me.
over, bless you. We know when we're overwhelmed. And then there's ways to track it with all the tech, the watches, the HRV stuff, and that'll tell you you're overwhelmed. Or I wear a sleep ring that tells me my stress levels. But I think, if you're in touch with yourself, if you're having, you know, circular thoughts about things and you're overwhelmed, my recommendation is to always, always start with stress management training. And really, you can do that 1 to 3 minutes a day. And
Mhm.
there is heavy science and long lasting science about how to put a brake on your fight flight system with these very simple breathing exercises. And they're super effective and they're non threatening because they don't take a long time. But that's what's going to be like ground zero if you're like, well, I don't know what to do. My diet's bad. I don't move enough. My sleep's bad. My stress bad. Everything's bad. Start with stress because these
Mhm.
things
Start with stress.
synergize. They synergize. Even if you just do one habit, it's going to have runoff effects on all the habits, all the pillars of
Yeah.
health. So just know that whatever action you're taking, you are doing something towards your health and a better life.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are not all the way through the detoxification course, we have a whole section in both Jennifer's program, Eureka 30, and in your detoxification program that focuses on
Yeah.
box breath, all kinds of breathing. I think we're up to about 12 different breathing exercises. So be sure to reference that in your course and definitely in the Eureka 30 program. Is it NeuroChill? Is that where everybody's learning the breathing? That's the
Yes.
main point of
Well,
NeuroChill. Okay.
NeuroChill, yes, is the stress program. It's not just breathing, but because the breathing has so much evidence behind it, and
Hmm.
everyone can do it. And there's little strategies if you're just so type A that you can't even sit down and breathe or meditate. Ooh,
Big
there's
one.
ways around it. There's
Yeah.
ways to incorporate it without having to just sit and be. You can take it outside and do your resonant breathing, things like that,
Nice.
and
Nice.
include movement in there.
So, A lot of us, when being diagnosed with what could be a fatal disease, we're all here. We know it's not. We can
Yes.
combat it. And that's why we're here, is to learn that. Um, it's hard to believe that you're going to live a long and healthy life. And I know that is so important, having the right mindset. Can you talk a little bit more about the role that belief and believing plays in the wiring of your brain, the neuroscience behind belief, not
Yeah.
being falsely optimistic,
Yes.
but true belief?
Exactly. Well, there are a fortunate few people that are naturally inclined for positivity and optimism, and that's great. And if you're not, even if you were, and now you've got a diagnosis that has, you know, crumbled that idea, I
Hmm.
just, first of all, it is important. It is important. And I just want people to know that you can rewire your brain, including for positivity. So it's also like creating a new mindset using these little strategies. Because if you just feel, oh, it's just too much, I can't do it, but you want to live, like as Nietzsche that said, he who has a why for which to live can bear almost any how. So you work on your why. Who do you want to be? What do you want to look forward to? Who do you want to be here for? I mean, you just start to build this why little cauldron, and you
Hmm.
do you do some of the the habit formations for just recognizing the positive things in your life and trying to lean in on that. Even if most of the time you're negative, if you can just like go, okay, I'm going to take 10 seconds to sit here and think of one good thing and then reward yourself.
Yeah.
It's those rewards, and you can build on that. You really can rewire your brain and be more positive.
And let's remind everybody again, PARS. It is
Yes.
prompt,
Prompts, actions,
action,
rewards.
rewards. All
Yes.
right, so let's all remember that. So, another thread I want to pull on with you, because you have a section called Neurosleep.
Yes.
You pointed to your sleep ring. Um, Jennifer, I don't know if you know, but most of us that got through radiation and chemo for
Mm.
5 years after that were put on these horrible drugs, tamoxifen, or in my case, Arimidex, that rob you of your sleep. For 5 years, I didn't sleep more than 3 to 4 hours, and I'm
Yes.
trying to
Yes.
train my body.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can share with us from a neuroscience background, how we can welcome sleep, how we can stay asleep,
Yeah.
anything that you can share with us about sleep? We would be so grateful to hear.
Oh, I do hear you on that, and I'm sorry about that. And it's actually very real. So Eureka 30 and what we're doing handles more of the behavioral side of sleep. So if there is a medical reason, like you said, I'm on these drugs, then that's going to be a different situation, and then
Mhm.
that's something for the doctor, maybe medication. Just depends. I don't know if they ever offered you sleep medication or things like that, but that's something else. But
Yeah.
just if you are just waking up stressed and worried about, the future of your life or what you're going through, now there's ways to handle that. And then there's the other one, I can't fall asleep. So, it usually goes into two categories: can't fall asleep, early morning wake up. So we would the the early morning wake up is about stress and anxiety. It's waking you up. So,
Hmm.
lean into your stress training. Have
Box breathing, the
the
meditation.
breathing, music. There's so many things. We have them in the program, so many options. But it's a personal choice about what works for you. Music might be annoying. Some people listen to a childhood, nursery rhyme, a story. My sister likes
Okay.
the Velveteen Rabbit when she wakes up in the morning because she never makes it to the end. So it just puts her right to sleep. So
Okay.
there's that side, and then there's the I can't fall asleep. And usually
Yeah.
I can't fall asleep is about poor sleep hygiene leading up to sleep. But
Mm-hmm.
they interact. I mean, I would definitely do, look at both. Am I
Mm-hmm.
am I looking at my phone before I go to bed? Am I getting upset? Am I watching shows that have violence? Am I just, you got to think of
Yeah,
those things.
even
Did
the
I eat
temperature of
too?
your room.
The
Yeah.
temperature of your
Yeah.
room, your sleep partner, are they, keeping you up at night? There's many things in there that could be affecting your sleep
Yeah, just kind of
that
tick
you
them off one by one and try
well, yeah,
and
I would say get your sleep hygiene in order.
yeah.
Everything leading up like 2 hours before you go to bed. There's a lot of information on sleep hygiene about how to set up good sleep and falling asleep. Taking a hot shower before you go to bed, just raising your temperature and then
Hmm.
having it come down relaxes the body, puts you in a relaxed state.
Mm.
Doing a minute or two of resonant breathing also will put you in a relaxed state. Reading a
Hmm.
nice book, something, you know, that makes you feel positive, and
Hmm.
setting an intention, I'm going to have a restorative night of sleep. But,
Mm.
if that makes you feel bad in the morning, if you feel like, oh, I failed, I didn't have it, then don't do that. But and then, like I said, if you wake up, then that's usually about stress. So then
Cortisol.
yeah, cortisol,
Yeah.
stress. So
Yeah.
for me over here at Eureka 30, when I get people saying I don't know where to start, I always say start with stress. Start with stress because it's
Yeah.
going to change everything else as well. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. So again, speaking of that, for if you had advice to the viewers today, if for feeling a sense of overwhelm, I'm hearing we just get center ourselves, get back in the now, be present, do your breathing, and from there, if you could just give us one takeaway, I'm hearing small steps
yes,
and we attach a new habit to something we're already doing just blindly and methodically as we
yes,
do, brushing our
yes,
teeth,
yes,
going to the bathroom,
yes.
making the coffee. We just hook one little thing onto that. And
Small
once
step.
we've done that, then we just hook another and we just do a keep doing and building that way. Is that the path?
Okay, so how it works with Eureka 30 and how we've laid this out with the science is that it takes
Hmm.
30 days to
Oh.
really set the roots for a habit to become automatic. Now, I like to give the example of a habit that most people have: riding a bike. Some point you learned to ride a bike. Probably your
Hmm.
parents taught you. They took you out, you fell, it was scary. They cheered you on, they held the bike and cheered you on. And at some point, it all clicked, right? So it was about consistency. It was about
Hmm.
uh, taking action. And then it was about pleasing your parents. Same with brushing your teeth. When you finally did that and they didn't have to like do it for you, yay, Kate,
You're
you
right.
brushed your teeth. Like they gave you the reward. We're going to give
Right,
ourselves the
right.
reward,
Yeah.
So So anyway, I'm sorry. I'm glad I went off
No, that's okay. So that is
there.
it. It's just getting that
Oh, okay.
consistency
So yeah,
within 30 days is what
right.
you were
Okay, I want to
mentioning.
circle back. So the 30 days is what it takes, and you would just want to do that one habit for 30 days. Now, if you're like, no, you know what? I can breathe for 1 minute in the morning with my coffee, and
Hmm.
I'm going to add another movement bar to my mix too. It's not that threatening. I say when I'm on a phone call, I get up and walk, you know, phone rings. That means I'm going to add some movement. So then
Right.
hang
And
up.
you did do that
Bye.
when I called you the
Yeah,
other day. You're like, hold
exactly.
on, I got to get the dog. It's
Yes,
a phone call. That was
exactly.
good.
So these are
Good.
things that, you're already doing, and then it's so small, it's not threatening. And then you get that
Yeah.
little dopamine hit in the brain. So yeah, it takes about 30 days to really like, give it some roots. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say it's completely automatic then, but it's getting to that point where you don't have to like remind yourself because in the beginning you might forget, oh, I drank my coffee and I didn't do my breathing. It takes a
Right.
little bit like, you know, getting the habit in there, but you
Yeah.
do it, and by 30 days, that should be pretty well set that you don't have to like think, oh, I'm going to do the breathing after the
So
coffee.
small habit, 3 minutes roughly, not a
Yes.
huge commit. I'm
Yes.
going to
Yeah.
do Pilates every day. No,
Yes.
I'm going to do
Exactly.
one
Yeah.
movement this day. And then you say do that for 30 days before we add something else on.
Well, what we say is do one properly. And
Okay.
then
So
after that,
not limited to or held accountable for 30 days before my brain rewires. As long as it's natural, then
yes.
I can add the next thing.
And the next time you go, well, after 30 days, you may want another habit. Now you
Mhm.
now you own the process of how to do it. And
Mhm.
that's not just for wellness, for everything you do.
Yeah.
And recognizing the blockers in your life. So that's like a whole other discussion.
We'll have you back
So
for that one. That'll be
yes,
fun.
yes.
Yes.
Everybody else, well, what about this bad habit I'm doing? Okay.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, I would love to have that dialogue.
But
Yes. How
let's
do we
let's
get rid
let's
of
stick
that?
on like new habits and new healthy habits and how to
Right.
create them. And yeah,
Yeah, that's one of the mantras in our detoxification protocol is test it, eliminate it,
yes,
and replace it so that
yes,
you don't feel you're in a constant state of deprivation. Oh, I can't. No,
yes,
let's just find a healthy swap for that.
yes, yes, yeah,
Yeah. Well, Jennifer, this has been amazing. I think this
yes,
advice is so resonant with
yes,
all of our viewers as
yes,
we're trying to detoxify our lives and never get recurrence, can't never get
yes,
cancer again and hear that phone call again.
yes,
My takeaway, and I just want to, you stop me if I'm wrong, but we're going to start small. PARS is our goal to prompt, take action, and reward. I've got my good job, girl,
yes,
right in my head. I'm going to do that. And
yes,
I think what I'm going to do is add, well, it's winter, grounding. I'm just going to walk outside when I have my cup of tea in the morning and put my feet in the earth.
yes,
So I'm going to see how that
yep,
goes. And every time I do that, I'm going to say, good job, girl. And we'll
yes,
report back to you.
you
Thank you
got it.
so much. We definitely want
Mhm.
to have you
Yeah,
back. And we would love to talk about the bad
sweet.
habits because
Yes,
we've got them. It's that's
yes,
what, part of who we are is, loving the piece of bacon or the martini or
yes,
all the
absolutely.
things, yes, that we don't want to do anymore. So, Jennifer,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your
Well, thank
time.
you for Kate.
So
Thank
much.
you, Kate, for having me.
Yes. And for
Fun.
those of you that want to explore Eureka 30 further, I've got a link
Yes.
to Jennifer's program. She's created an app for this. You can grab that link right here below. And thank you all for joining us today. Let's go
Yeah.
add one more good habit today. Thanks
Yes.
so much.
Thank you.
You can do this and you can thrive.
You can rewire your brain.
Yes. Thank you,
Okay.
Jennifer.